Okay, hello and welcome to the Charity Security Forum, CSF SecurityCast. So, Brian, the age-old question, charities don't need security, do they?
Very good question, very good question. Hello everybody, thanks for joining us. Charities don't need security. I wish I had a pound for every time somebody said this to me, particularly when working for a charity. It's difficult sometimes to get this across to the bean counters, because they tend to look at it as would banks need security, charities don't. They don't understand that charities have as much to lose, in fact more to lose, the banks do. Banks, they can lose money, they can lose customer details, but charities can lose a lot more. They can lose their reputation. And
lots of charities trade on reputation, don't they?
They do indeed. They do indeed. We both know that from working for charities that rely very heavily on a good reputation. Once you've lost that, and people stop giving you money, people stop depending on you, what's the point of your charity?
Well, let's have a look a bit closer than that, because we've both heard the same phrase. Why would hackers and cyber criminals be interested in a charity? I mean, what have we got as a charity that these people would be interested in?
What have we got? What have charities got that hackers and cyber criminals will be interested in? Well, they've got a list of donors, the people who have given you money, the people who have left their details with you in order to make future donations. So that's of interest to hackers anyway. There's also the point that the hackers may not be interested in that. What they might be interested in is the people that you support. Now, if your charity supports ancient buildings, trees, animals, if you like, that's not so much of an interest to hackers. If, on the other hand, the people that you support are vulnerable children, vulnerable adults, we have charities as members of the forum who support particular religions. Now, not everybody supports religion as a concept. Not everybody supports an individual religion. There will be people who want to get at you because of the religion that you support.
What would specific threats look like?
That's a good question. That is a good question. We tend to look on people attacking, we talk about cyber. And I think we do ourselves no favours when we talk about cyber, because it makes people concentrate on the internet, on the network, on the technical side, everything that IT is responsible for. And that is true. Yes, they are responsible for it, but they're not the only ones who have access to the information. Every person who works for a charity has access to the information. That's what they deal with every day. That threat is also down to people not looking after the information properly when they're dealing with it, either in the office or remotely or out in the field at a charity event, that sort of thing. There are various threats out there, far beyond the threat to the network and the threat from the internet.
So I guess what we're saying is that actually you need to think about the information and keep that information safe. It's not just cyber, although that's probably a very, very strong attack, and the one that's perpetrated most often. And because I guess the bad guys, they like the internet, don't they? It's a great way of committing a crime at arm's length and remaining rather anonymous if you can. So let's just look at one or two specific ones then. So you sort of alluded to earlier on about people asking, charities asking for people for money, and the donor database has been one of the precious assets. So what about charity phishing? I mean, we've all had those emails that come along saying, if you don't do this, then your PayPal account will be compromised. You give me your mother's maiden name, your inside leg measurement, or you won't be able to buy anything on eBay anymore. What's the twist for charities on that one?
Well, the twist on that is very much along the line of you're pushing emotional buttons in many cases. If you can tie the email into, obviously phishing tends to be specific. HMRC want to give you some money, just click here and give them your bank details. AOL need to give you some money back, click here to get your details. As you say, if you don't do this, you can't use your account for any longer, click here to put in your security details.
And of course, there's a variation on phishing that we've seen increase rapidly over the past couple of years, which usually comes maybe disguised as a phishing email, but carries a much more devastating payload, and that's ransomware, where essentially your data is going to get encrypted. And I think we've heard of a few charity members who've succumbed to this sort of attack, haven't we?
I think top of the list of the dangers here, because it appears on a person's screen, there's always the danger that the person who receives the message will think they're doing the right thing and will pay the ransom.
It must be very tempting to just pay the ransom and get on with it, but I guess there's a bit of an ethical issue there, isn't there?
There's an ethical issue, which I guess if you can keep it really, really secret, you don't have to worry so much about, but then you never can. There's the other point that you can't guarantee that the people who have sent you the email actually have the wherewithal to decrypt what they've given you. There's no guarantee that you're going to get all of it back, even if they do give you the key.
But the other side of that, having your data put beyond use is one thing. And I do remember it used to be said, actually, you can't steal information. Well, you can't. But what you can do is put it beyond use. I guess the other side of that coin is you can see your data leaking away and going where it shouldn't do. You still got a copy of it, you can still use it, but actually somebody else has got it now. So data leakage, I think, is one of the biggest issues, has been for many, many years.
You can take the whole of the database on your laptop or on a USB stick, because it's easier than not, and take that out. So if you lose it, you lose everything. You've also got the other point, you're dead right when you say you may still have it, but somebody else also has it. You've also got the point is if you don't take care of the data to make sure that it isn't lost or leaked, the Information Commission is going to take some interest in what you're doing.
And of course, people sending emails all over the place, attaching files, receiving files, what I call clickyitis, clicking on every attachment that comes in every email, sure way to ransomware. Everything has to come down to user awareness, doesn't it? If only we could stop people doing these things and instill a bit of good cyber hygiene, if that's the right word.
I think you're right. I think you're right. There's, as I said at the beginning, a lot of people consider that because cyber is technical, it's down to IT, it's down to the security manager who sits in the corner and says, no, every time you ask him anything, you ask her anything. People tend to sort of switch off and step back and say, it's not my job. But as I also said, so many users are now using information. That's their tools of their trade. That's what they deal with all day and every day. They have to be made aware of what can happen when it goes wrong. I think awareness is the right word as well. I don't like training because training is boring. I don't like education because that's what you did at school, and we've gone past that, haven't we? So awareness is right. So
should cybersecurity be on the risk register? A director of risk once asked me that. Is it all about risk?
It certainly should be on the risk register. You said you're surprised about being asked that. I was once told by a charity, isn't it lucky that the Data Protection Act doesn't cover us because we're a charity? Yeah, it does. It does. I think that it's something that you have to worry about. There's a risk there that you should manage. So therefore, it should be on the risk register, because at least that raises the issue of cyber security in the eyes of whoever it is, whichever body in the charity or in the company looks after the risk register or has an interest in the risk register. If the only one who thinks about it at any time is the security person and the IT manager, that's about as far as that's going to go. You need someone higher up who looks at the risk register to say, yeah, this is important. We need to look at this.
I hear quite often that people say, you know, well, this is all too complicated for us. We don't have somebody in charge of information security. It's just an IT thing. Okay, maybe it's a risk that we need to do something about, and we can't sit there with cybersecurity as a red risk. How do we get help? And if you're a charity, that sounds like an expensive proposition.
It can be. It can be. There are various things that you can do. There are various steps that you can take, which can cost money. You can apply to join the Charity Security Forum, as long as there is somebody in your charity who is interested in security or involved in security, and that can come from. We actually have members who are trustees. It's not their job, but they're interested. We can help to a certain extent and provide, there we go, and provide information to help you going forward.
And I think it's worth pointing out that actually, this is actually one of the issues that started it, isn't it? If you don't have somebody there with expertise, but has a responsibility for information security, then it's about actually joining together and sharing your challenges and some experiences.
Indeed, yeah. I honestly believe that there is no new problem. There is no problem that you have got that somebody else hasn't already come across and has fixed and has moved on from.
And I think probably at that stage it's worthwhile just leaving it, and like all good charity security people, there's a bit of legal stuff which you can read, and just make sure you don't plagiarize our stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think until next time, we'll hope to see you as a new member of the CSF.
Yeah, indeed. Hope you enjoyed our session today. Join us for the next one, and if we can help, drop us an email. Bye.
Bye.